in this journey, because as I said earlier that we want to recognize what we have managed to achieve and also recognize what we are still lacking. And let's start with what we have managed to achieve. 1982 years down the road, Derek, what have we achieved in this fight? So
what we have achieved, one, at least if you look at the global statistics of 1990 that was changed to 95, which is the first 95, which is making sure that every population in Uganda know their HIV status. Then the second 90, which is 95 people who have been tested are enrolled on medication. Then the other 95, the third one, which is those ones who are on medication, should be having a suppressed viral load. And we see there's a very big slight improvement that our people who are on medication have suppressed, and the people who have been tested have at least gotten into care. And also, if you look at on the side of the government, the government has played its role in making sure that people access medication, people access care within the different HIV organizations that are implementing most of the HIV activities. If we go back to the 90s, whereby people used to take around 6-8 pills and 10 pills a day. Now we have come back to one pill, a single pill, a combined pill of 3 drugs
a day.
And we are seeing there is more that is coming. If you look at the HIV, the injectable HIV treatment that is also coming on board, and also it's called the vaginal ring. The name keeps on confusing me because I'm not a scientist.
It's okay.
But the ring itself, just of recent, also the government just approved it. So we are saying that regardless of the challenges that we are having, still we have made a progress.
So according to you, statistically, what do you think is the prevalence from then to now? If we are saying that yes, there's a slight improvement, can we give it a percentage? So
if you look at the national prevalence for people living with HIV in Uganda, that's 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. Not right now. But back then the prevalence was too high. If by time in 1990s, then it come to 2000, which was around 6 point something. So currently, right now, our journey on ending HIV, yes, we are still on the journey, but we still have a few gaps that we need to fill in as different CSOs and also the commitments of the government. But if we come back statistically to the statistics of young people living with HIV, which keeps on increasing every single day.
Now that right there, I'm glad you've hit on that. But before we go to that, let me first take you a little bit back. If I jump to that, you talked about the medication and people being able to access this medication. I was trying to look at statistics, and we have about 76 districts in the country that are still lacking even district hospitals. How are they being able to get their medications? The people that are struggling with HIV in these particular districts, how are they managing to get medication?
So if you look at during lockdown, we had the similar challenges whereby most hospitals were running out of ARVs, and the easiest way that we used to do either have peers distributing ARVs, and I remember that period. I was among the not peers. I was among people who used to distribute bulky ARVs to hospitals. So I would move in the whole of Eastern region distributing ARVs, mostly second line and third line. And but if we get back to your question, so most of the facilities that are lacking ARVs or that are having drug stockouts, most of them are working with their other health facilities within their districts or outside the districts, making sure that their clients access ARVs. Because if this client doesn't take the ARVs on a daily basis, we understand that he or she we might end up losing the client. But still, also our clients are very stubborn.
They still are failing. We are still having issues of people failing to take HIV drugs.
Yeah, we are still having a big challenge, because at the end of the day, you find that this client or this young person living with HIV, he'll comfortably go to the health facility to pick the medication, but at the end of the day, you've picked medication for yourself, not for anyone.
And they just keep it.
And you just keep it.
Yeah.
And for us people who who sit on the different committees trying to bang those tables with the different stakeholders to increase the ARVs, then for you are comfortably sitting on them,
or probably giving them to your poultry at home.
I still remember that the story that came out from I think news from
it was actually all over all the news outlets. So we had it in New Vision, in the Daily Monitor as well.
And when I was passing through Tinda and I was seeing people roasting chicken
on the roadside.
Now this chicken has
in your head was like, this is the ARVs now.
Now this is the ARVs. But some of us now, we are just comfortably living with it and taking these ARVs. It's just like waking up in the morning and taking that Panadol, as long as you maintain the time. But they feel that are not empowered. That's why they will hide out. I had a very big scenario whereby a wife and a husband, they were both living with HIV, but they never disclosed to each other. But every time one would need to swallow the medicine, they'll go to the neighbors. The neighbor was the one keeping the medication.
So the neighbor knew they were both having.
Now time reached when they were shifting to another place, and the wife told the husband, let me first go and say goodbye to my friend. So the husband said, let me also go. The wife first went, they sat, then they gave him the neighbor gave him the package, the ARVs. Then also when the husband came in and knocked, then entered in, and he found that the wife was already holding the ARVs, so they all got confused. So also disclosure among.
But what is bringing this issue? Because we still have not just much elderly people, because right now we're having a surge in HIV among teenagers, but still one of the issues that is being brought up is the issue of the fear of disclosing their HIV statuses. Why is this a prevailing issue till now? I thought we were fighting stigma. Have we moved on this journey of fighting stigma? Is it the reason as to why people fail to disclose their statuses?
So I think with disclosure, one, we will look at what interventions does the facility have in terms of disclosure. Because I remember those days back when I was still a client with TASO Uganda. They used to take us through the sessions of how can you disclose, things like that. But currently, right now, you go to the facility and you've just come to pick your medication.
There is no more talk.
There is no more talk. So the biggest challenge currently right now we are having is our young people are not really, if you look at the crossing from being a child to adolescent stage, and then when you reach around 15, then that's when the feelings and what, and now you start, the boys, or if you're a girl, the boys start saying now,
this is the time.
Then also on the side of the girls, they'll still say
hyper now.
The hype, you see the hips, and everything, the body changes. So when you know that you're HIV positive, then the disclosing part becomes a very big problem, because some of them were never taken through the whole process of how can I disclose. But the counseling itself has been a very big problem, and if we do not work on the counseling bit and have interventions around to empowering these young people on how they can disclose, then we are going to be losing out, whereby this young person will run into a relationship, but they're not going to disclose.
So is the issue of disclosing their statuses a point of the health workers are not doing enough, or the teenagers themselves are not willing to take it?
Okay, like if you come back to the facility itself, because before someone discloses, then it has to come from personally you, but there should be a driving effort on how can you disclose. And a few of us that have been empowered. I remember those days back when I joined, when I shifted from TASO, then came back to AIC, that's AIDS Information Center. We used to have a pool of activities that would drive, like they would tell you how to disclose. But the effort right now should be making sure that the government puts interventions around disclosing to empower this young person to move out and disclose. And we thank God that for UNIPA itself, it has been having interventions around disclosing. That's why, like, we have the Y Plus Beauty pageant. If you cannot disclose, you cannot join. You can't join the Y Plus Beauty pageant.
So it enables them to openly come out about their HIV statuses.
Yeah, and it also empowers you to speak publicly about your HIV status, and also motivate those ones that are going through the same challenges. You know,
it's amazing. Back then when I was a little girl, all I knew about was TASO. Because at school we used to have kids, particularly they are visited by TASO, they pay school fees, and it never occurred to me, to my head, that actually these kids could be HIV positive, or maybe their parents are struggling. It never occurred to me. All I know is that there was an organization that was paying them. Of course, learning about this came in earlier, later on as I grew up. But right now we don't have just TASO, we have other organizations like UNEPRA that are coming to do the job. There are so many other organizations on the market that are actually doing the job, but amazingly we still have a surge in infections, and they are between the teenagers and the much older men. What is the problem? What are we not doing right?
So if you look at the awareness itself, so with the awareness and the messages that we put out for the communities to learn about HIV, you find that with the awareness itself, I'm looking for the right word, but BCC, which is a society education something, you'll find that the messaging, the packaging of the message, we are not really at good terms, and that's why, like, we have the Uganda AIDS Commission and the messaging committee that is supposed to make sure that each and every message around HIV should go through the committee so that it can be approved. And with also what the community thinks, the myths and the myths themselves,
misconceptions about it.
You find that it's now hard to change, because with the messaging itself, it's a process for someone to digest
and process it.
To process it. But I sometimes tell people that if we go back to the other awareness that people used to do back in the 90s, and we implement it in 20s. But just a matter of just changing the word that fits with the generation. And we have been trying to do that, and that's why like we have this campaign that we are running together with different with Ovulam and Ovulam, then Ministry of Health and USAID, which is now focusing on young people, because we understand most of the young people are online. Most of them use TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media they are using. So we decided, USAID and together with Ovulam decided to have an online campaign to sensitize. And we thank God that now at least people are picking up. People are now having the self-testing kits within themselves. Now people, like, what we need to know is how do we penetrate through them. Because now those days back we used to look for them, but but right now it's again more. It's harder to actually get to them. It's harder to get to them, apart from now using the social media platforms that we are having. And so far the campaign is 2 weeks, but we are seeing a very good there's positivity coming. The positivity. And if you look at now the few people we are using, if you look at Ankomo, then having those different stories that about how can you test. It was just like yesterday when they shared a small clip about knowing your HIV status, knowing each and everything within a society, but you do not know your status. And in my caption I made, most of your friends call you Wikipedia, but do you know your HIV status? So Uncle Mo still said, I'm not Wikipedia. I just said, no, this is just the content that our young people really need to know. But if our young girls would stop this thing of us saying that I fear pregnancy, but HIV, I do not fear. I can accommodate HIV, but I'm scared of getting pregnant. And guess what? They say that, and we still have a surge in teenage pregnancies in the country. So they should be scared of both. But that's what they should do. To tell you the fact is, yes, you might fear the pregnancy and HIV, but can you get that? If you get HIV, can you have that long-term commitment with the ARVs? Because remember, taking this medication every single day. The first months when you've been diagnosed, you will have the side effects and everything. But at the end of the day, are you willing to get committed? Because that's like a marriage between two people, and you understand. It's a lifelong commitment. It's a lifetime till commitment. Death do us apart. Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Derek. Of course, we will continue with this conversation, wondering, can we get rid of HIV/AIDS by 2030? It's a question that we all ask ourselves, but we will come back after this very short break.
Bethany TV for Health. Introducing Bethany TV, the pioneer health and wellness channel in Uganda and Africa, having a profound commitment to health and wellness. Our content takes various forms, from music and series to documentaries, talk shows, news, features, movies, cartoons, and reality shows. We are a hybrid station available on free-to-air and pay platforms, embracing the digital age as we maintain a strong online presence through our website, social media platforms, and mobile apps. Explore our rich and diverse content, engage with us on social media, and be a part of the positive change we aim to bring to the health and wellness landscape. Bethany TV for Health. Introducing Medical Minds with Dr. Andabati.
And these tubes can be so delicate that sometimes they get damaged. Some people have gotten the damage because they have undergone some operations. So damage to the tube system is one of the big problems we also do see.
The groundbreaking show that takes you behind the scenes of the medical minds.
You will explore cutting-edge treatment and technologies revolutionizing reproduction health.
Now, in retrograde ejaculation, we get damage to the junctional valves, which I could should say.
Learn about the science behind fertility, contraception, and emotional journeys that several women trek.
Every Sunday, 8 p.m., live on Bethany TV. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to introduce Bethany Santa Omugabi, who will be sharing wonderful goodies with you this Christmas season. Getting a chance to meet Bethany Santa Omugabi is easy. Just tune into Bethany TV and get to know our various programs and talented presenters. Bethany Santa Omugabi will make surprise appearances during our live programs and offer Christmas hampers filled with an assortment of goodies, including healthy food items. When you spot Bethany Santa Omugabi during any of our programs, be the first to call in and say, "Hello, Bethany Santa Omugabi. I am your Christmas date." He will then ask you a simple question about our programs and presenters. If you answer correctly, you instantly win a mega Christmas hamper. But that's not all. You can also respond on social media. The first 20 people to respond to each question on social media will be entered into a draw. And lucky winners will be picked and announced during Bethany Santa Live on Saturdays. Bethany Santa Omugabi, only on Bethany TV. For health. Are you looking for a platform to advertise your business and boost your sales? Bethany TV got you covered. Take advantage of our introductory rates and maximize your leverage for brand awareness, advertising, product launching, live coverages, activations, and so much more. For booking and more information, contact our sales team on 0785 576 269. Bethany TV, for health.
Christmas is definitely my favorite part of the year, and I'm so excited right now. I remember my favorite childhood memory was when we used to go to our neighbor and get that natural Christmas tree, the kakomera. I don't know if you guys relate, but it was so interesting. We would cut it, then carry it, put balloons, put disco lights, and just be excited. Then you couldn't wait for Christmas Day to wear your tantantala, go to church. And my church was on top of the hill, so we would really feel it, and it was all amazing. So I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. My name is Nasali Rachel from Bethany Women's and Family Hospital, and I'm a medical imaging technologist performing ultrasound scans. So keep watching Bethany TV throughout your festive season. Thank you.
Bethany TV, for health.
Welcome back. Of course, it's the 1st of December, a few days to the end of the year. We are in the studios here with Derek, and today with Derek we're posted from the Uganda network of people, young people that are living with HIV/AIDS, and we are discussing the journey that how far we have moved since 1982, what we have achieved and what we have failed to achieve. Now, Derek, in some of the achievements that the government has put, some of the initiatives the government have put on the table in order for us to be able to achieve this 2030 goal of having no AIDS is the injectable PrEP. Now, there's PrEP and injectable PrEP. I would love to understand what is the difference. We've been having this conversation behind the screen, but I would love for you to also know.
So PrEP is proclassis something, because you know they have very
long names. Yeah.
Then prep is a pre. Then pep is a post. So with pre, you take it before.
That is the pre.
Yeah.
If you're exposed.
No. If you're going to have sexual intercourse with someone living with HIV, so that
that's
you can.
The pre.
Yes. Then with the post is now the exposure. You've been exposed. So there are two of them, but one is pre and another one is post. So, but mostly for the pre, it's given to people who, I don't know. I'm finding
looking for the right words to use.
I'm finding the right words, but it's given mostly. It's given to the LGBTI communities mostly.
Oh, the pre.
Yes, the pre, and also it's given to people who are into sexual intercourse with their partners that are living with HIV. But mostly I've been seeing it being given to the LGBTI communities.
So if you go to the healthcare center and you have a partner who is HIV positive, but you're not HIV positive, they give you the pre.
Yeah.
So that you can continue having sexual intercourse without you also getting infected.
Yeah.
What about the baby?
So there's what we call if someone has been on medication for quite a long time, like 6 months and above, you've taken your medication very well, so you do not need the pre and the pep.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, this person living with HIV has a suppressed viral load, and you very well know that you're in a committed relationship, and the whole thing that you look at, basically this, the people living with HIV that have settled, they do not need the PEP and the PEP. So, but if you're exposed and you have the doubts that this person
could be,
that's when like the PEP and the PEP comes in. But most of the time I advise people that before you get into any sexual encounter with someone, always know their HIV status. And to me, before even I just get into any sexual relationship, the first thing to do is to disclose. Because I know if I disclose, that's when
the other person will be comfortable.
With me. Because I don't want the thing that, okay, we can be in a relationship and I hide myself taking medication. So at the end of the day, what if it happens and I infect her? Then taken to court for cases on intentionally knowing that having infected someone. So, because our young people also do not understand that the law around HIV, it can also give us a hard time when you infect someone, and if knowingly, and if you disclose my HIV status without my acknowledgement, I have a right to sue you and take you to court, because at the end of the day, you have to first seek permission before you disclose. But if we come back to the PEP and the pre and the post, to me, because those days back they used to administer to health workers, the post, the health workers
that are exposed.
The health workers, then adolescent girls and young women who are raped. But right now the guidelines have changed. If I know that I've been exposed, I'll go to the facility within the 72 hours, then I can access the medication. But with a pre, you can have it. And if I know that if you know that you're going to have sex with me, then you take, then you come, we have sex, then life moves on. But you know, with a pre, it is you take it on a daily basis. It's like you're taking ARVs. Oh. Yeah, but with a post, you take it for 28 to 30 days. Then you go back for the test. Then after some months, you go for the confirmatory test. But my advice would be that before you get into any sexual encounter,
you're sure someone's status.
You have to be sure.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, your day could be looking very handsome and you'll be like, tanakauka. But at the end,
yeah, you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
you wouldn't physically rate someone's HIV status.
Yeah.
We've looked at what we have achieved so far, Derek. I want you to honestly tell me what you think we have still failed to achieve in regards to. Let's start with the government before we go to the community basis, because we all have our hand in this. We need to know what the government has failed at, that if we know it had put in place this or that, we would have probably gotten furthermore. Yes, we have moved, but maybe we would have gotten furthermore before we go to what the community should have done as well. So
if you look at what the government used to, it's called 1%. The 1% that is supposed to be the revenue of 1% that is collected at the districts and district and the cities. That 1% has to be diverted to the HIV activities within the district.
Within that particular district.
Yes, and the cities. But up to now, I keep asking myself, where is this 1%?
Where does it go?
Where does it go? Are the district officials doing the right way on implementing the 1%? Those days back when we used to have the district AIDS committee, the sub-county AIDS committee, these committees would sit and plan. But if we can move around the whole country, how many districts committees that are still functional? Even the ones that we used to support on the project-based
are not existent anymore.
But if the government can still come back and support these committees, because these committees used to give feedback what's really happening within the district. But one biggest problem is our government, with HIV, our government lies on the donor funding.
Okay.
So there's one that we used to have, the $1 initiative. If it can also be put in place, it can also solve a few things. But the government itself has done a lot around HIV, but still it's still lacking. And that's why, currently, right now, the young people that who have been empowered, so some of them have gone back to zero, simply because now the stigma and discrimination right now within the communities they are coming from has gone high.
Something we thought we have eradicated. Yeah.
So if you look at the statistics that will be shared by the Uganda AIDS Commission, it shows that now the stigma has moved away from the community. Now it is with an individual. So we are. That's why, I ask myself, so we need again more of the empowerment interventions that can stimulate
to reach to particular individuals.
Yeah, to particular individuals. And when we used to have those the psychosocial groups for people living with HIV, and I've been watching a few movies around cancer and basically around cancer, and you find that with cancer these psychosocial groups can really support. But if you come back to still with HIV, people fear to sit down with their fellow young people to discuss things that are really happening to them. But if the government can still work on that and have those psychosocial groups. I remember when I was still implementing a project called Get Up Speak Out in Busoga. We used to have all those psychosocial groups, and instead of this young person to come and sit in the queue, wait for the medication, then wait until evening, with still the psychosocial groups, we used to have games, and sometimes I would attend some of the art clinic centers that we used to support, and like we can sit with these young people, then talk,
and
then share, play games, play football, and that's why like most of the young people that were within those facilities, some of them up to now still call me to go back and implement the project. But as you understand, was a project
because they knew how. Because I feel like the issue of penetrating someone on a personal level doesn't happen overnight. It's a consistent work where someone opens up today and is able to open up tomorrow, and consistently doing this gets them out of that zone of I can't openly talk about that. If they can talk about it with one person openly, they'll be comfortable enough to talk about it with another person, and the more these numbers increase of the number of people they can openly tell I am positive, or it becomes normal to them. They can openly now go ahead and talk about it with anyone and boldly say it, that this is my HIV status, because they're not scared about it anymore. So yes, I believe those kind of groups are very important. Kujjamu okutya okumubana, especially bana bavubuka ab'ennaku zino, okujjamu okutya. But Derek, what about as a community? So what have we failed at?
As a community, I remember there's a community where I was, and this person came for the refill but refused to get into the facility. Then the Msao shouted his name, please come and pick your ARVs, and things like that. But the community itself, and I'm so happy that the global thing is
commit, remember, and commit.
Commit, remember. But there's this one, let the communities lead. If you see now the community itself, these are where the young people living with HIV are coming from, and a community is very big. But the community itself, it has failed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
With a high number of events and activities that are happening within the community, we will find that that's where, like, we have the teenage pregnancy on the rise. Right now, the young people themselves have come back from school. When a young person is in school, it's like in the prison. But the moment they come back in the community,
they lose.
It's a total mess. And I remember there's a certain video I saw on Twitter. These young girls, I don't know from which school, they were like, "Tukomao, abasajja bamwe bakweka," and I'm like, what the hell?
That must be a 15-year-old.
15. And I'm asking myself, okay, you have there's this, sorry to say this, but you have this nyash and what, and you're exposing yourself on internet saying that hide your husbands, hide your boyfriends, we are coming. Okay, you're coming, but what if you get pregnant? What if you get HIV?
I don't even think they think about that. I think that's why we need to involve the sexual education in school. I feel like we really need to tackle that on a serious matter. Find a
framework was launched, but we had a back and forth on that framework on it's called the Sexuality Education Framework. And the Ministry of Education, yes, we thank them and acknowledge that they approved it. But
is it being implemented?
It's being implemented with a few organizations that are out there, but to me, I feel like that there's something that's lacking. If the schools themselves cannot create a timetable for the learners to go through the sexuality, the sexuality education,
which was the idea initially.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember when we used to have the PSA. You know, PSA used to do a lot around HIV and a few other sexual and reproductive health issues, but when it phased out, then they brought the sexuality education framework. So with the sexuality, at first it was called the Comprehensive Sexuality Education Framework. Then with the comprehensive, then the Minister of Health, Minister of Education chopped the comprehensive, simply because they thought that different organizations were going to teach the students around about things related to LGBTI community, but which was not there. But if the schools can create a timetable and make sure that their students have sessions, it could also improve. But still, if you look at the awareness within the community, there's sometime when we're implementing a community outreach around, I've forgotten the place, but these community people are comfortably saying, find mutu wadde obupiira kanete mutuweereza ku bakyala, and I'm like tukutasiza kino kati nawe genda wetaasa. So it's like as an organization we cannot do everything, also of everything.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, different organizations have played a very big part. Just like us, a network of young people living with HIV, we do a lot of activities within the community, and the behavior change is not a one-day event. It's a process. So if you do today, then
it takes time.
You need to go back and still do the same thing.
Derek, as we wind up, our time is running out. We have about a minute to go. I asked this question. I asked Dr. Daniel Byamukama from the Uganda AIDS Commission this same question that I'm going to ask you. Today's theme, as we commemorate the World AIDS Day, is ending HIV/AIDS by 2030. In your perspective, you have been in this journey for a long time. You have seen where we have what we are struggling with. You know what the community basis is struggling with. You know what the government is failing at. You know what the community is failing at. Do you think that this is achievable by 2030?
Yes, it's achievable. And why? If we put...
It's achievable if... Okay.
If we put all the interventions that we need to implement, both at national, regional, communities.
Then, Derek, it's 2023.
Yeah, 2023. It's achievable.
Okay.
If we put all the interventions in place, and also putting the 95-95 strategic plan into place, we can achieve, if implemented very well.
Yeah.
But if we go back on the challenges that we still have, the stigma and the discrimination within the community, whereby this young person will test and this young person will go hiding, we cannot achieve. But to my side, I would say that there is a lot that we still need to do in making sure that we achieve the goal of ending HIV. Being a PR, you overthink, and today was like, if we put if we ensure that there is treatment and also accessibility of treatment, and also making sure that people living with HIV are stigma-free within the community, this will make us that putting a community to lead is achievable. Yes, because at the end of the day, we are the people who need the community. The community doesn't need us.
Need us, of course.
So, to everyone, I think, who is watching the show right now, everyone has a role to play in ending HIV. It's not the organizations alone, but also someone watching this show.
On an individual basis.
Yes, on an individual basis. And at the individual basis, at an individual basis, one, you need to look out and get to know about HIV. If you're HIV positive, you need to swallow your medication every single day. You need to get support from the health workers. You need to keep on appointments. That's how we are going to end HIV AIDS by 2030. Then the one who is negative, you have to learn more about HIV, understand the policies and the laws within HIV, getting to understand that if I get to know this young person living with HIV, a person living with HIV within the community, how do I treat this person so that at least we end stigma and discrimination.
Okay. Thank you so much, Derek. We have unfortunately come to the end of the show. I am glad that you've been here. We really appreciate your time, and it has been wonderful having this conversation. Of course, according to Derek, it is extremely very achievable for us to end HIV AIDS by 2030 if, I love the fact that he put the if we put all the other things into implementation that move hand in hand. As an individual, you need to know your role. As a community, we need to play our role, and of course, back to the government of Uganda, you also need to make sure that you play your role in this fight. It's just then shall we be able to have HIV end by 2030. It's just a matter of years away. Other than that, allow me end here. It's a beautiful Friday. We have come to the end of the week, of course, and also initiating ourselves into the month of December. So allow me have a beautiful weekend. I'm Genesis Namale. See you on Monday.